we wake up from our sleep, we once again know that we are existing. We may sleep many thousands of times, but we do not know that we are sleeping. But the moment we wake up from sleep, we once again know that we exist. Similarly, this fellow, little fellow in the lotus, awakens and learns that he exists, and then begins to do his work. Just as in the morning we wake up and begin to attend to our routine once again. So, the background consciousness is called Vishnu. The word Vishnu means pervasion. That is, if there is a vessel, there is space outside and space inside, and also space between two atoms in the vessel, and there is also space within the atoms of the vessel also. Ultimately, we find nothing but space in everything, because space has its own vibrations, just as milk when boiled has its own cream crusting on the surface. Similarly, space has its own cream crusting on the surface, and the cream is the formation of the creation. Like that, we find the Lord as the pervasion. We can know him only as space, and we can know that the Brahma is made up of space. Just as all the atoms of every substance are made up of space. Within the atoms there is only space. Between two atoms there is only space. Outside the atoms there is only space. So the atoms are only ideas in the cosmic mind. So this Lord is the Lord of cosmic idea of the whole creation. The idea comes to his mind again and again in the form of Creator or Brahma. And then there is one stir in which is called his navel, and there is the sprouting of the Creator consciousness. That is why it is described that Brahma is the son of Vishnu, because Vishnu is the background and Brahma is the one which comes out of the background. So, the word Vishnu means filling in everything as the content of everything and existing as everything. So this is the concept of Vishnu. And then the whole creation of Brahma can be compared with a house of cards, because it is only a packing up of atomic matter. He has his own planes of consciousness preparing, and then from him all the worlds come out. He is set to create 7 planes of existence, which are described by the Tibetan master in all his books. And the first plane which we know is called the physical plane or the material plane. The second plane is called the astral plane. It contains subtler matter. All the forces work in that plane, and that is the subtler plane, which we call the second plane of existence. So the first is the physical plane, from bottom, physical. The second is called astral. To do this, he should have a mind. Therefore, the third is called mental plane. And to strike some idea to his mind, there should be a bigger mind. That is called the buddhic plane. For his buddhi to work, he should feel it happy to receive the suggestion. That happiness is the next plane. It has 3 sub-planes. One is called nirvanic plane, the plane upon which we experience happiness. The next one is called paranirvanic plane, which means the happiness of a higher octave, happiness beyond our understanding. And when we say we do not remember ourselves, whenever we have a very happy experience, whenever there is best music, sometimes we say we do not exist, we do not remember ourselves. We will be in the paranirvanic plane when we are enjoying it. And the next is called Mahaparanirvanic. So, these 7 planes of existence are created by Brahma the Creator. And these planes exist in us also. And the more we are tuned to them, the more we are able to experience them. Or in other words, they become true with us. Otherwise, only the lower 3 planes will be true with us. Many people live only in the first 3 planes. We live in our physical body because we have it. And we live in the astral body because we have hunger, appetite and taste. Unless these appetites are given to our nature, we do not care to protect and feed this body. Unless hunger is given to our mind, we do not feel like eating. When this body requires food, hunger is suggested to the mind and we say bon appetit. Similarly, when this body wants water, we feel thirst. And we foolishly believe that we want water. Unless we are foolish, we do not care to supply water to this body. Therefore, nature makes us feel that we want food and we want water. It is foolish, but it is necessary. Therefore, we feel the foolishness to protect this body. And when we can understand this, we are lucky not to get stuck up in it. Otherwise, we are tied down by our appetite. So this plane of appetites is called the astral. And we begin to live for them. That is a greater foolishness. Because they are only created for the maintenance of the body and not for us. But because we are feeding the body, the appetite and the taste are given to us as gifts and presentations and souvenirs by nature. Otherwise, we would not have cared for this body. But what happens if we think that these gifts are the ultimate ones, it is like a child who received a souvenir in his school for getting a first mark in the class. The fellow thinks that it is for the souvenir that he is making his studies, but that gives him an incentive to conduct his study. Similarly, as long as we are foolish on this earth, we are made to progress in the direction of evolution with the help of the foolishness that is presented to us. And when once the teaching is complete, we will understand that we have a mind, and that the mind is receiving impressions from outside. And then we come to understand that we like this taste and we do not like this taste. I like him, I do not like him. For some time, I like my wife. After some years, I hate my wife. This is because we are living only as mind. The mind is the director. We do not understand that we have a mind, but we understand that we are the mind. So we suffer. And then many of us are living in these three planes and dying with those three planes without making use of the other planes. Suppose you give me a wonderful instrument as a presentation, an electronic camera or a well-equipped computer machine, the use of which I do not know. What happens? I will carefully take it to India and I begin to examine it and then take it out of the case and think that the case is the thing presented to me. Then I will use it to place my letters or some papers, or to purchase some covers and put it in it and bring home. Similarly, many of us are not using the higher mechanism that is there in us. We are dying after using only the outer case. So we have the body and we have the tastes, likes and dislikes, and we have the understanding of what we like and what we dislike. We like and enjoy, we dislike and weep. So we experience enjoyment and weeping mixed, and we die. But there are people who know that there is something else. Because whenever we know that something is good and something is bad, it is not the mind that is able to give us that information. It is the higher mind or buddhi that is giving us the power to discriminate, the power to know what is desirable and what is not, to select what is desirable and reject what is not desirable. Then every day we feel the existence of the fourth item also. But since we are too much attached with the first four, we are not able to take a leap into the fourth one. Because I am very much after my appetite, I do not use my buddhi to know if it is time for me to eat or not. But when I begin to use the buddhi, I can know when I eat and when I should not eat. even though the dish is very tasteful, my mind learns not to care for the taste, because I come to understand that taste is only to feed the body. And then gradually, through a peculiar process, we learn to know the higher three principles also. That peculiar process includes two attempts. One attempt is to have a repeated idea that we are something more than what we understand, that we have some higher side in ourselves than our likes and dislikes about people and things. By proposing to the mind again and again that there are greater values than food and taste and relationships and money and property, possessions, and the ideals we make. Because our ideals only indicate our creation, they cannot be higher than us. We should remember that there is something higher than our ideals. Then we begin to grow higher and higher. By the simple proposition that we are more than what we understand as. Year by year, you will know what you are. You will understand you this year more than what you know about you last year. And you will know next year what you do not know about you this year. In this way, you will grow into your higher self. This is what is called the process of repetition. Repetition of the proposal that you are higher than what you know about yourself. And the second thing that is to be used is have a higher taste and drop off the lower taste gradually. For some time, as children, we can rejoice the taste of our food. After a certain age, we should know how to allow our children rejoice the same taste. As a boy, I was rejoicing what I was eating. What happens if it is the same thing after the birth of my son also? Then I will fight with my son and I eat for myself. It is not the case with the majority of the fathers or mothers. When we grow up into a father or a mother, we learn how to enjoy the child enjoyment. Learn how to enjoy seeing the child enjoying. Even then you are having a taste, but not the same taste which you had as a child. This is a higher taste which makes you enjoy the child eating. Without this taste, you are sure to fight your child and take it away and eat for yourself. So, this higher taste and our proposal to have a higher taste and not to care for the lower taste makes you grow. This second aspect is called detachment. The first is called repetition. The second is called detachment. With the help of these two things, you will be able to grow into the higher four mechanism, and you will be those powers. You will live as the higher principle. Then, on the seventh plane, you will know what the Creator is. You will experience what the Creator is. because you will live as all creation. And since the Creator is in no way different from His creation, you will also be in no way different from the creation. That is an experience in itself, and it is not a thought to be explained. Can you explain taste? You cannot. Just as you cannot explain what taste is, you cannot explain what the Creator consciousness is. But one day you will experience the Creator consciousness. But when we are on the lower planes, the Creator is different from the creation. Just as a cup of water is different from the ice block floating upon it. We find others different from ourselves. Just as the ice block feels the water foreign to itself. The very fact that the ice block it proves that the ice block is objective to water. It is not one with the water. But what happens when the ice block becomes water? It does not float on water, but it is water. Such a change takes place in your consciousness when you experience the seventh plane. But from the beginning of the creation to the end of this creation, the Creator exists always in that plane. He is one with His creation. He lives omnipresent in His creation. But His creation floats upon Him. Therefore, we, His creation, think we are different from our Creator. But remember, the Creator is not the highest God. He has His background creator called Vishnu, from whom He has come out. Only when we are existing in the consciousness of the background creator, we can know what God is. But as far as our little understanding goes, we should begin to live one with creation and creator. Until then, we are existing as many, each different from the other, each having his own way of doing things, his own likes and dislikes, his own happiness and misery. But when once we reach the plane of consciousness where Creator exists, we know that we are in the Creator. We are the Creator. Just as one drop of water knows that it is the total water in the cup. That much we can explain. These 7 planes of creation are created by Brahma the Creator. When once he wakes up and finds himself existing, he begins to create these planes. So, his existence is not any one of these 7. It is the 8th in number. And this is the reason why in the Puranas, whenever the Lord comes down to earth as an incarnation, he is described as the 8th child of his mother. Some of you might be knowing the story of the birth of Krishna, who has initiated Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. He was the 8th child of his mother. This may be or may not be physically true, but the principle is that the world teacher comes as the 8th child. Whenever he comes down to earth with his original consciousness, with a body like us and with mind and all the instruments of a human being. He is never conditioned by any one of these things. He exists as the eighth principle and he leads all the seven principles in him. It is the same with Christ. It is the same with Buddha. It is the same with Krishna. It is the same with Rama. Whenever the Lord comes down into a body, he is called the eighth child of his mother. The mother means nature, who is always a virgin or pure in his case. This is a part of the symbolism of the world scriptures. Now, we will understand another aspect of Brahma's story. Brahma is said to have four faces. In some pictures you might have seen a little child in a lotus with four faces. That means his creation of these seven planes comes into existence in four stages. Let us know what these four stages are. It is said that the whole creation is uttered out by him as his word. Now, let us try to understand in how many stages we utter our word. Then we will be able to understand his word. We see. I say this is a tube. Like that we utter, every one of us, the word which we want. But let us see in how many stages we utter this. If I say this is a tube, it is in English. So we can call it the language sentence. And we spoke it through the vocal cord. So therefore we call it vocal sentence. Vocal language sentence. Remember, vocal language sentence. Before I utter this is a tube, I should utter the sentence in my mind. Otherwise I can't utter through the vocal. So before this sentence, there is the mental language sentence. No vocal sentence. So we call it the language mental sentence. So before the vocal language sentence, the language mental sentence exists in us. Without that we can't utter the vocals. So first in my mind I should utter this is a tube. I am uttering in my mind in English. Suppose I do not know English. I utter in my own language. If you know only French, you will utter it in French. If you know only German, you will utter in German. If I utter in my own language. But before uttering it into my own language, I should utter it as a sentence in idea. Then only my mind translates it into the language known to me.
Dans le langage que je connais.
So, I should have at first a sentence which has no language, rather a mental sentence without language. We call it concept. So let us have the concept sentence. So we have three utterances for each sentence. Without these three utterances, we can't utter any sentence or a word. Do all of you accept or any doubt about this? Everyone knows because it is true to them. But before having this sentence concept, what was it that is existing? Suppose I got the idea, this is a tube. I translated it into English in my mind. And then a third time I uttered it into the vocal English sentence. Because the concept came to my mind to utter that this is a tube. Before I got the idea that I should utter, what was there? That was myself. I am there, the concept was not there, and the concept came out of myself. It is compared with the wave in the ocean. Before the wave, what was there? There was only ocean. The wave came out of the ocean, taken 3 steps, and again disappeared into the ocean. So, before the first step, we have only the I am as my own word. That means myself and my future word was one. That is why the mantra in the gospel says, first there was the word was with God, the word was God. These are the 3 stages before it came out as the word. So we have 4 stages in creation. Creator himself not different from his creation, and the concept coming to his mind that he should create, and the whole shape of the creation in his mind in all its 7 planes, and then the creation coming out into the objective world. Just as we have the 4 stages for every word we utter, the Creator has his 4 words to utter, and these are called the 4 faces of Brahma, the Creator. This is the reason why the child in the lotus is described as the 4-faced God. In the pictures also you can see a child with 4 faces. And these 4 faces are nothing but the 4 stages of the creation coming out. According to our simile, the ocean was there and the wave was there, not different from the ocean. And the push for the wave came from within. And the wave began to roll, the wave came out.
Et enfin, elle sortit.
In 4 stages, the Brahma creates this creation. That is the reason why we utter our words also in 4 stages. Because we are part of the Creator and we are in no way different in structure and anatomy from our Creator. We are not away from the Creator, but we are with the Creator, in the Creator, one with Him.